Hey guys, welcome back to an IT job coach. I'm going to show you how to do a great interview. First, I want to say congratulations to all the people that have messaged me on itjob.coach, on my blogs, on my forums, and on my Facebook groups. I want to say congratulations. A lot of you have said you followed some of the videos, and during our mentoring sessions, you've actually done a lot of the corrections on your resumes, and now you have interviews lined up. So congratulations. One more thing that's super exciting, two of the people I've been mentoring at work, one of them is actually getting into a senior role, another is moving into a more senior position in a different part of the company as well. So congratulations to both of you and wish you guys best of luck. Okay, the format for this is going to be a summary because I don't have the time to do a more detailed discussion of this. I'll try to do further videos to explain each of these categories in more detail. But right now, I hope it's enough to get you through the interviews that you have coming up in the next week or two. An interview consists of a lot of questions, and we can categorize them into 4 categories. The first are common questions. Common questions are seen everywhere. They're just generic questions that are asked no matter what type of interview you're going into, whether it's a senior management role or whether it's just a basic junior role or non-IT related role. These questions are listed here. You could do a quick Google search and find a lot of them. You should be prepared for these questions. My suggestion is answer each of these questions, write it out, and then follow my technique called the red pen, blue pen. What you want to do is you want to be able to look at your answer at the end and highlight anything that's positive, that says good things about yourself with a blue pen. The more you have, the better. Now also find anything that's negative, whether you're telling something that reflects negative on you, maybe it's describing how you didn't step up or you didn't like something, anything that has a negative on it. I don't like my boss, I think my company's going downhill. Those are all negatives. Those should be highlighted in red. The reason is if you have a lot of negatives about yourself, it reflects on you badly. If you have negatives about the company or the people you work with, the hiring manager could see this as, hey, maybe one day you're going to be sitting at another job and talking bad stuff about my company and about me. So make sure you don't do any negatives. That's very bad. You shouldn't talk negative anyways. So it's a good practice. It also trains your brain up for other discussions we have. So make sure you do this for all your questions. Make sure you get into the practice of identifying positive and negative. And that way you train your brain, and when you have more questions later on scenarios or anything like that, your brain is more focused on doing positives and stops you from saying anything that's negative that could harm you or give you a bad impression. The next category are scenario-based. You can identify scenario-based questions with the tell me a time when, and anytime you have a scenario-based, the best thing to do if you do interviews with Google or Amazon, you're going to be interviewing a lot of people. They're going to ask a lot of questions. The best thing to do is use STAR. STAR is an acronym for situation, task, action, and result. So I'm going to one-up it because I find that the STAR approach is very limited. So I'm going to give you something that differentiates you when you do your interviews is STAR L, lessons learned. So S is for situation. 10 years ago, I was working at this company. T is for task. I was tasked to do blah, 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 blah. A is the action. During that time, I had to do this, 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 and then R is for result. And at the end of that, I achieved this out of my actions. So you answer with the STAR approach, and that's a very generic way of answering these scenario-based questions. However, the lessons learned at the end is, after all this, what I learned is there are better ways to do things. I should focus more on this. And what that does is it actually shows you're very self-aware and you're actually going to be doing better and better as you grow because you know how to reflect, you know how to look at your mistakes, and you see everything as an opportunity to learn something. So that will differentiate you from anyone else who doesn't follow my approach in doing this interview. The third category are technical questions. Technical questions are very hard. Let's assume someone asks you a question that you just don't know, or it could also be you're very nervous during the interview. I remember a time I had an interview and it was a round table. There were 5 or 6 people asking me questions, some on business related, some on technical, some on something I don't even remember, with all kinds of acronyms in there. And that was one of the best experiences I had. It was super fun. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, and I did very well in those interviews. It can cause a lot of pressure. So how to address this is create a process to answer technical questions. So my process personally is IKTRT. And the way to remember that is I know 3 right things. So I stands for impact. It would be taking a look at the system as a SQL server. Does it impact production? Does it impact something that's customer facing? Is this just a test box? What is the impact to the organization? Is this just a dev box where people are just playing and testing out code? Or does this run a very important application for the business? So K is for knowledge check. Knowledge check is understanding if you have the skills to fix this problem yourself, or do you need outside help or someone from your team or other parts of the teams to come in and help you. T stands for 3 things I gotta check. So the first thing I gotta check is the system. Check all the RAM, the disk, the CPU, what tasks are running. Number 2 is checking the network to see if the network is up, if the ports are up. Do a ping, do a telnet check to make sure everything's running. And then number 3 is checking the logs, whether it's the Windows OS logs or the SQL Server logs or application logs that are impacted, and see if I can troubleshoot and find anything in there. Number 4 is do a report, which means I collect all the information and I make sure it's documented. Some applications do rollovers, which means that log is only there for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours because of all the transactions. It might go, all the new information comes in and all the old stuff goes out. So if I actually have to send the logs out to someone, I want to make sure I capture the logs right away so they're available. And if I need to turn on extra logging or verbose mode or anything like that, then I do that right away. So I have that information ready to go in case I need to open a support ticket. T stands for teams. So who else needs to be contacted? Is it my management team, people on my team itself, people that have affected applications because the SQL server is down, and also the vendor, which is Microsoft in this case. Do I need to open a support ticket? And if my organization is big, there's an account team, do I have to notify them as well? So I know 3 right things is a very good way for you to create a process to go in and answer these questions on anything that's technical. It applies to a lot of them, and even if you don't know 1 or 2, you could talk about your process in answering them. It's better than saying, I don't know what that is. At least it gives you a very good thought process, and for each one, you can answer in a very similar way. Another thing you want to do is have a pen and paper ready so you can write down the question. Make sure at the end of the interview, you collect the hiring manager's email address. And what you want to do at the end of the interview, email the hiring manager, thank him for his time. There's a lot of examples online about how to do this. And then you add on, by the way, you asked me these questions, which I didn't know what they were. And I found the answers. So do your research, find the answers, send that back to him. That will earn you a lot of bonus points, and then learn about what you didn't know. Finally, the last type of questions are the awkward questions. These are made famous by Google's question about why manhole covers are round, and all kinds of awkward questions out there. For a technical interview, what you want to do is never say, I give up, I don't know, because they're looking at these impossible questions and they're trying to figure out how you would troubleshoot it. They would see if you have the right mindset, if you're just going to easily give up, or you're going to try to give 1 or 2 answers. Remember, they're trying to figure out who you are. And if you go, oh, I guess I would do this, it just shows who you are. And no one wants to hire someone that gives up so easily, especially when they're hiring them into an IT technical job whose sole purpose is to figure things out. So do your best. Use a lot of process that I talked about before. Make sure you understand the red and blue marker, and make sure you don't say anything negative. Show your thought process. Make sure it's structured and you follow a very good systematic approach, and that will really help you on these awkward questions. And remember, don't give 1 or 2 word answers. Don't do the I don't know. Sometimes these questions are really hard and you can't answer it. write down the questions and say, I'm actually going to solve this when I get home. So that's a very good way. And when you do, look at my previous suggestion, get the email, and respond back to him with the answer. Finally, we have the questions you ask the hiring manager. Please, guys, don't do do you have questions? Oh no, I don't have any questions. Those are the worst. The interview goes both ways. So for questions for the hiring manager, you want to ask questions to see if this job is a fit for you. You can ask about the environment. How is a day in a life of coming to work for you? How does it feel in a company? What are the good things and bad things about the company? A lot of the questions that were thrown to you, you can use back in the interview to them and understand the job a lot more. Question about salary. Is this a valid time to ask? It all depends on the flow. No one's going to get insulted when you ask a question because everybody knows you're not doing this for fun. You want to actually get paid to do your job. So it is a valid question. It shouldn't be the first question out of your mouth. It should be maybe the third or fourth question that comes out, and it shouldn't be the last. So a lot of people, when they ask it as the last question, they're thinking about it and they're just throwing out a lot of questions, and then at the end, oh, by the way, well, how much does this pay? So put it in the middle, maybe the third or fourth question, ask about the benefits, and you can ask a lot of questions about the organization and everything else as well. So I hope that helps as a quick crash course on how to do an IT interview. I'm going to go a bit deeper on some of these questions. If you guys have questions, put them on my YouTube because I have so many forums and user groups and websites, and it's actually getting really difficult lately to collect all the feedback from all the different postings. Please try to put them in my YouTube video. I'm going to address any questions that you guys have from the comments on my next videos so you would know how to answer them. So when you go through these, if something's super challenging, let me know below. I'll try to wait a few days before I post my video, and if I get that, I hope it'll help you on your interview. So guys, I hope this helps for everybody having interviews coming up in the next week or two. I wish you guys best of luck, and I hope you get that job that you're looking for, and I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe.